Etsy listings not selling does not mean that your products are crappy. It usually means your listing is just doing a very poor job actually explaining what this is, why someone should buy, and also what makes you unique. And I know all of this can be really super annoying, especially when you are a beginner, you just want to get your products up, you just want to get them sold, but this video is going to help you understand why your products are not actually selling right now and what to do about it. Okay, so point number 1 here is stop blaming Etsy first, okay? I cannot tell you the amount of times someone has said to me, Steph, like, I don't understand. I've got all of these listings up. I don't understand what's going on. I have put my heart and soul into these products, but they're not selling. Whilst I sympathize and I completely understand, Etsy can literally only work with what you give it, okay? So let's say your photos, I'm just going to grab my iPad up on screen. Let's say your photos are like a 2 out of 10. Let's say your SEO, which is your search engine optimization, let's say that is like a 3 out of 10. And these are things like your title, tags, and your description, okay? Just in case you were wondering what on earth I was talking about, let's say your description is like a 1 out of 10, okay? What does all of that equal? All of that is going to pretty much say, even if people land on your listing, they are probably not going to buy from you, okay? Because they can't actually see what the product really truly is. Maybe they have questions about it that are not being answered, hence why the photos are really, really important. And maybe the description, maybe it's just not really selling it to them. As you know, when people are reading your description, and please don't tell me that people do not read, because they do. People who are 80% of the way to buying actually read your product description. So that is why they are super important. Now let's talk about the titles here for a hot minute, okay? If you have a title that says something like the Anna Collection Silver Elephant Bracelet, I hate to break it to you, but that is actually doing you damage, okay? Because no one is typing in the Anna bracelet collection, blah, 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 whatever I just said, okay? No one is literally typing that in. So if you're saying, I'm not getting traffic, Steph, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong, you have to actually go into your title, which leads me on to point number 2 really nicely. Sellers often use names and words and jargon, really, let's call a spade, that means something to them, but your average buyer, your target market, does not know what they are, okay? So let's say your average buyer is going into a search box and maybe typing in this, but you, as a maker, you know the words, you know, like the technical words for it. So you're writing in something like that. You know, you're using words like hammered finish and hand-fired and roasted and all that kind of stuff, you know? Things that, like I said, your average Joe is not going to know what that is. They are not using those words to type into the search box exactly what they are looking for. Your buyer is not searching the Anna Collection Silver Elephant Bracelet. Your buyer is literally typing in silver elephant bracelet, okay? And then they will change their search and they'll add words to it. So then they'll go silver elephant bracelet 925, okay? And they might revise their search completely. They might go kids silver elephant bracelet 925. Does that make sense? So you want to be looking at how your target market searches and how people are actually using the platform, aka Etsy, that you are using. And by the way, this is where actually knowing who your target market is so important, because as you can imagine, all of this stuff, your photos, your SEO, description, titles, tags, all those kinds of things, very much pivots and rotates around your target market, okay? So we have your target market here. Your whole business will literally revolve around that particular person, okay? So if you are a beginner and you're watching this, I would implore you to spend a fair few hours, some people spend like a week on this, actually researching who your target market is. Who is your perfect person? Who do you actually make your products for? Because once you know that, it's going to make all this so much easier. Okay, point number 4, your description needs to be answering buying questions, okay? Buyers should not have to hunt through an endless amount of waffle. And I'm saying this with love, but you should not be putting your postage info in your product description. You should not be putting anything about processing times or anything like that. Your description, like I said, someone is 80% of the way to buying when they read your product description. So you need to make this so super easy and simple for them. So what I see a lot is buyers have objections to buying your product, okay? It happens all the time, okay? Let's say 100 people go to your listing, all right? Probably at least 95% of those will not buy, okay? And if you went round with a little microphone and you interviewed every single one of those 95 people, they would probably say, well, I was interested, but I didn't really know what size it was. Well, I really liked it, but I didn't really know, what color it was. Or I love this, but I just wish you could have made it slightly smaller. These are all questions that, had you have answered those in your actual listing, and this can be in your description, it can also be in your photos as well. Had you have answered those, we would have been singing a whole different song here. We would have been getting sales, our conversion rate would have increased, and basically you would have to drive less traffic because you'd be getting sales from those people who are already coming to your listing. So this is why when people say to me, Steph, I'm not getting any sales, I obviously need to drive more traffic. I'm like, we need to look at your conversion rate first, because if that is sitting around the 4 to 5% mark, then yes, we need to drive more traffic. If it's not, you need to be looking at all the points I've mentioned throughout this video and working on those. So what sort of things do we have to answer in our description? We have to answer what it is, we have to answer who it's for, we have to also answer in the photos and the description what size it is, we need to also answer how it's made, we need to answer when will it arrive. Now, these are going to be done through your processing times if you are on Etsy, and that's actually going to make part of your listing. So don't worry about putting it into your description per se, just make sure that your times, delivery, all that kind of stuff, your shipping profiles basically are all set up and ready to go. Basically, you do not want to make people work for basic information, okay? You want to be giving all of that. I want you to see your description like a salesperson that sells for you 24/7, because that is basically what your product description is, okay? Please don't say to me, Steph, no one reads, because, okay, yes, maybe like 95% of people that land on your listing will not read it, but do you want to take that risk of doing a really crappy description, because you think people are not going to read it, but the five people out of 100 that are going to buy from you, yes, they are absolutely going to read it. If you want me to dig a little bit deeper into all of this stuff, I've actually made you an awesome freebie. It is a 72-page guide, literally walking you through why your Etsy listings are not selling and what to do about it. Like, it basically does what it says on the tin. It walks you through the bits to check before changing everything and creating chaos in a Google tab, because you're like questioning every mortal nook and cranny of your shop because you're not getting sales. This handy guide is completely free. I'm going to link it for you below, but it literally has everything detailed out. Like, I've literally drawn you pictures explaining everything, how everything works, and what you need to do to get your listing seen and sold. Now that you know why your listings might not be selling, the next step for you is this. You need to sort getting your Etsy shop set up the right way and without overthinking every little tiny detail. So the next episode that I want you to go and watch/listen to is episode 105, and this is called How to Set Up an Etsy Shop Without Overthinking Everything. I will pop the thumbnail up here for you if you're watching the video version of this. Otherwise, if you're listening to the podcast version, just go and search for episode 105, and that is going to be the next thing I want you guys to do. So go and watch that next video/listen to that next podcast, and I will see you there.